Hello and welcome everyone to episode number 73 at the Indie Football Podcast. As Anukar sir just mentioned off air, we are finally into the third year of our existence. There's been a lot of different kinds of episodes, different kinds of guests, and that pattern continues because today we are joined with Mr. Tilak Gaurang Shah, who is the founder of Ace of Pubs and recently a lot into discussions given the entire Ole Gunner Solskjaer's visit to India and many other things. Thank you, Tilak, for taking out the time. How are you feeling tonight?
No, thanks for having me. I am feeling, it's this incredible mix of emotions. I'm so tired. I think I work about 18 to 20 hours a day for the past 2 months. I've been doing that. And we're
Oh,
just 7 days away from Ole's flight into Bangalore, 9 days away. So, yeah, very tired, but at the same time, I don't think I would have asked for it any other way. The response to the news, to the tour, has been incredible. Something like this has never happened before in India, where fans get a chance to proactively, interact with legends in this manner up close. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm very excited. I'd love 73 shows, 73 episodes. That's incredible. I'm glad to be here in your first episode in your third year. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Anukar sir, 18 to 20 hours in a day. I don't think even though we have come quite a long journey, but I don't. I like it. It might be true in your case. You might have worked for 18 20 hours for our podcast, but I have not crossed 12. I know that. So Tilak is really being run hard with Ole's visit to India recently.
Yeah, it's like a three-city tour, right? So it's not that, he flies in, it's a show, and he flies out, it's over. He flies
Yeah.
in, it's a show, he flies back in, it's a show, he flies back in, it's a show, and then he flies out. So, and obviously, there's not, I wouldn't call it pressure, but responsibility that I want to make sure he has such a good time because I know a lot of people are looking at this event very closely, global football stage wise. So I want it to be, an experience that he can cherish and he can talk about once he goes back home.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Honestly, first of all, welcome to the show, Tilak. I mean, it's great to have you here. I think what I have learned in the last 73 episodes is that I have become more welcoming of United fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been a Liverpool fan since 2006, but I've been really impressed by how, you have been at it on Twitter, everywhere for that matter, trying to market the event, trying to talk about the event, and also, it's a big deal. I'm sure it's like a childhood dream for you come true for you. Getting someone so eminent at Manchester United to come in your home country. I think it's something a lot of us can only dream of for that matter. And it's great that you are putting it to fruition. Even you are getting Andy Mittens, if I'm not wrong, from the Athletic on the back here in India. So, like,
Yeah.
tell us a bit about having Andy Mittens here, and tell us about your journey while planning this event. What obstacles you went through? Tell us a bit of an insight into that.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, so no one's at home, so I had to get the door. Yeah, no, obviously, Andy coming to this store, and this is not like something where ticketing went live after the announcement. The ticketing has been going on, like we've been live with our tickets for about a month now. So Andy coming on is like a very sweet surprise for sure, a very good surprise for a lot of fans who follow United closely. And Andy is one of those journalists where, I mean, he writes for the Athletic, not exclusively. So he does these incredible. He has this magazine called United We Stand, and he's been running it for decades now.
Oh,
The
right.
good part, the unique part about it is that he's the one who's also selling it at Old Trafford on a match day. So if you don't agree with something that he's written, or if he's written some nowadays, especially with the likes of Mark Goldbridge and everything, everyone's just doing it for the views and for the clicks. Uh, you'd never see Mark Goldbridge at an event at the stadium. He would not walk out on 2 feet. But on the other hand, people like Andy, who are stakeholders in a way, responsible stakeholders. They talk about the club as it should be done. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about good or bad. It's about doing the right thing. So yeah, Andy coming down, it's a massive deal. Ole coming down, of course, a bigger deal. Them, they both, make a good pair as well. They've been together on several projects themselves. So yeah,
And it is interesting that you mention it that way, because now, as we have gone through the process of running this podcast, we have been maintaining certain communities in WhatsApp and other platforms. And
yeah,
fair to say, as the history of Indian football fans, Indian fans who are fans of European football, most of them are Manchester United fans, given what the entire Ferguson era had done. And everyone was talking about this entire Ole visit as soon as the news broke out. So
right.
in terms of, and of course, just in case, I think I have a record of mentioning this in 60 out of the 73 episodes that we have done so far, is that I have just recently graduated from my post graduation in sports management. And
Oh, lovely.
my college did lay a lot of emphasis in different aspects of sports, and where in many areas the Indian sporting landscape does lag behind. So sports operations, to a large extent, irrespective of the sport that you are doing, has different kinds of challenges, which is, I think, some of it does translate into event which is not exactly sports but related to sports, like the one you
Yeah,
are doing today.
yeah,
So can you just spread a bit more on how did you make it happen from the operational side of things, and what are the
yeah.
challenges in terms of making this entire thing happen? Because as you said, it is big, it has never happened before, and it can be something that would be remembered by at least the United fans for years or maybe decades to come in India.
100%. I think that was also a question that I was asked just in the previous one when I got up about the challenges. So, look, I don't want to sugarcoat it, but the way it's been so far when footballing icons come to India, it's nothing like this. What usually happens is it's either super crowded airports and you're pushing and shoving for one selfie and one signature, and there is security all over, and that's not how you're ever going to get a chance to genuinely interact with somebody who you want to. And on the other hand, it's so that's like I say that's like the Ronaldinho example when he had come to Kolkata last year.
Yeah.
There was no. I mean, it was he'd come down for the inauguration of a Durga Pandal, and it was incredible. But at the same time, that was that he hadn't come down for the fans. He happened to be there for the fans. On the contrary, David Beckham, he came down in his ambassadorial capacity for UNICEF. He was in Ahmedabad one day. The next day, he was in Mumbai at the semi-finals of the World Cup.
Yes.
He was at Wankhede inside the stadium, sitting with Sachin. That night, he was seen at Shah Rukh Khan's house, at Sonam Kapoor's house, and at and one more person. And
And then
then
he was accompanied at Wankhede with half of Bollywood anyway. So
yeah, and then by the time like Man United fans, Real Madrid fans, by the time AC Milan fans as well, I know group in India, by the time they found out, he was already out of the country. And
yeah.
so what I'm trying to say is it's either always too massy. There's nothing wrong with it, or it's either too classy, and there's nothing wrong with that either. What I'm trying to do, which is the challenge that you speak of, is try to bridge those two worlds where it is classy, it is a premium ticketed event. It's not going to be where you're going to spend 6 hours in the same place as Ole Gunner Solskjaer, and you're going to pay $500 or something like that. It's different. But I believe India as a market, I believe Indian fans as passionate fans, we deserve those kind of events happening here as well. Those who are attending will see that this is like a very European style gala dinner, black tie. You want to be there. You don't want to miss out. You're going to get a chance to meet and greet with Ole. It's not just a signature. It's not just a selfie. It's a proper evening with Ole. And for those who value it, and I think Mumbai should be the first one to sell out right now, as for the numbers that I've seen earlier today. It's going to sell out, and those who are there can always talk about it, as you said, for the rest of their lives, probably, of how, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're working towards making it how memorable an evening that is going to be. So the challenges are plenty because I don't know if you guys follow me proactively on Twitter, but there are so many comments that come in, and I don't come back saying stuff like, oh, that's your personal problem. I do feel for it because I'm a Man United fan myself. I'm not doing these kind of promoter gigs over the years, and that this is just one of them. I'm especially doing this because this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and it's Man United. So it does pain me to see that people are not being able to see what they're getting in return. An event like this, and I was in the UK for a month right now for promotion, speaking to Andy and doing so many other things, and they were like, for what we're giving, for what we're offering, in the UK it would sell for like £800, and easy. And of course, you can't compare India to the UK. I get that, but at the same time, you need to see the value of what's being brought to the table. And in India, the 40K tickets, which is going to be an absolute experience of a lifetime, that includes GST, convenience fees, platform fees. So that ticket is roughly about 33,000 rupees. And in 33,000, you're getting everything. A 99 Champions League final signed jersey by Ole, a picture with him, a 45-minute meet and greet, an open bar for 6 hours, dinner at ITC Hotel, Ole's interview, an unscripted, unfiltered interview, entertainment for 2 hours, some of the fanciest things. Andy is going to come and talk now. We're flying down two season ticket holders from Manchester. They live 5 minutes away from Old Trafford. It's a father son duo, and we're going to interview them on what it's like being a fan traveling home and away from Old Trafford. What it's
Oh,
How much does the club impact your daily life? What it means. Uh, Steve is the father, Jake is the son. Steve used to go to the matches with his father. So there are three generations of season ticket holders, and he was a kid. He went with his father. Now he goes with his kid. What it means, like, so it's an experience, and we're super excited to know that there are so many Man United fans who are going to be joining us that day.
absolutely. I think that's really a very unprecedented sort of an event, Doitan, isn't it?
That comes, sorry, and sorry to cut you, but and that comes with a lot of challenges because people need to see it for what it is, which takes time, and I get it. It's something that I'm passionate about, so I'm going to go with it till the end, and I hope like as many people can join me in this journey.
Interesting that you mentioned that, and of course, Anukar sir, you can ask what you had to say. But what I had to also further foray into, because many of I'll be honest, even I had a lot of people coming in and saying, what is the point of having this event in India? And people have come up and said this to me, if the tickets are so high, which at some point I do understand, but the ground reality in India also has to be that there is a lot of, like, India is a price sensitive market, and people keep throwing this jargon around for a lot of reasons. But now, for example, if you see this event going at half capacity or 40% capacity, so does this add a bit more nuance into your experience, saying that the next time we do something similar, it has to be more classier? Or you are bold enough to say that maybe since this was the first time we are doing it, people had mixed reactions, and so far I have got more negative reactions with the price tag in terms of more positive ones, because everyone wants to see Ole, but no one wants to pay that much amount of money. So
Yeah.
I feel you as the person will dictate whether how successful or how ordinary this thing goes around. So are you okay with maintaining this price tag if you get suppose 33% capacity across all events, across all
So
cities for this?
we're about 80% sold already across all cities. So so what I'm trying to say, and by the way, that's a nice question. I appreciate it. For me, no, it doesn't change. I am confident that there is an audience for events like these in India. Of course, it's not for everyone, which I don't like. But here's what I'm trying to say. I can do one thing where Ole comes into a venue with 10,000 fans paying 1,000 rupees each, just an example. Um, and then he comes, he's on stage, he talks, and he leaves. Personally, I would much rather watch that on YouTube than trouble myself being amongst 1,000 people where I don't have any chance of getting up close to him, talking to him. Fun fact, how I spoke to Ole, how I convinced him to come to India was at an event like the one that I'm organizing. I bought the most premium ticket. I said hello and I spoke about everything. And that would have not happened if it was a 1,000 member event at a stadium, right?
Correct.
So
Okay.
I'm confident about it. I'm confident about it that Ole will enjoy this event more than what it was if it was that 1,000 people this thing, because he's getting to meet fans in, not in a airport situation where everyone's like, oh, okay, we got to move on, we are pushing and shoving, and he doesn't like it over there. It's different, it's a different experience altogether. So yeah, it is not easy. I run Ace of Pubs, which is a bootstrapped startup. I've started out from zilch on my own. Ace of Pubs has not diluted any equity. We don't have any investors. We don't have any loans. Um, it's a pure passion project, and so obviously there are numbers involved. We don't need to get into the details, but uh,
Yeah.
there are contractual agreements with the artists and the superstars and the talents that we're bringing down, flying an entire crew of people from the UK and Norway, putting them up. You have to put them up in the best of hotels, because not because you have to, but because you want to, because you want to make sure that they realize that they appreciate all the efforts that, more as a fan than a promoter, I would do it. I don't want to be cutting corners anywhere. So even if it means something as basic as we're flying business class across all sectors, my entire, of course not everybody, how many other people, and then we're all flying in the best way, we're traveling in the best way, only to keep in mind that we want to build that experience. It doesn't come easy, and I'm confident there's a market in India. Maybe, more time for it, more awareness. I can safely say that a lot of people are going to regret, who didn't get their hands on tickets. They're still available right now, but they're not going to be. Maybe Bombay should be like knocked out in no time. They're going to regret not being there on the days of the event when they start seeing pictures. I don't know if I can name drop, but we have some celebrities coming to attend the event as well, and people who Indians would want to pay that kind of money for to be there, but they are in the audience this time. I don't think I can. I don't think I have the rights to share the names, but they are. I can definitely describe them. They're the biggest Man United fans, the biggest Premier League fans in India, whether it's within Bollywood or in Indian cricket. That should suffice. So they're coming down as well, and you want to be there, you want to be in the front row, you want to be experiencing this. I get so many messages like, oh, we can do like, we can do a trip to Old Trafford in 40,000 rupees. You don't even get like a flight ticket in that much, and then it's people have to, I feel sorry about it, but people have to complain about something or the other. I wish it wasn't the case, because I don't want this event to feel like it's not meant for somebody. But look what we're getting in return, something which is worth so much more than money.
Yeah.
Uh,
Makes sense.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, I actually feel that, for a lot of consumers, it does make a lot of sense putting in this sort of money, because this could be a very much a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people. But one thing which I really liked, which hasn't really been talked about so far, is what you guys are planning to do with Oscar Foundation. I think that is a very nice and a very novel sort of thing on your part. Tell us a bit about that, because that is other something other than the business part, but something which is much into the CSR part, much which is going to make a difference. So tell us a bit about that.
of course. So I've known Ashok at the Oscar Foundation for nearly a decade now. In fact, the ground that they play in more often than not in Kolaba, his students,
Yeah.
is where even I used to play football when I was growing up, in the exact same space. It's called the Back Garden, and so I've been tracking his journey over the years, and
It,
I've never been in there.
sorry to cut you off. Is that ground right next to the cinema hall opposite? We just go 30 steps into that place and within a corridor, and then we get to that. Is it the
That's it.
same?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So
spent
yeah,
11 years.
I, yeah, I had also gone there because in my previous role I was working for Wordsworth, which is a PR agency, a sports PR agency,
Yeah, yeah,
and and Mumbai City were their clients, and Mumbai City did an event with Oscar Foundation, and you mentioned Kolaba and the ground, so I just
yeah.
connect the dots. So yeah, sorry, please continue.
I grew up over there. So
Oh,
when
okay,
I see what
Okay.
Ashok is doing with the people over there,
yeah,
he's so selfless, and he's garnered such incredible support over the years. I've never been in a position to, bring in philanthropy in my. I'm only 29, and I still have a long way to go before I can do that. But I saw this as an opportunity where I'm finally doing something. Ace of Pubs is incredible. I love the quiz nights that we do, and I don't know how much about it, but this event is obviously a lot bigger than the usual. So that was the opportunity for me to reach out to Ashok, saying that I've always wanted to do something with you, for you, together, but I've never really gotten the chance, and now we can. So we are going to have an incredible auction across all three cities, where over the years, what I have collected, over the years, what Ole has been able to put together, and his management has been put together, not only for Ole but also his co-players over the years, his teammates over the years. So we have boots, frames, canvases, jerseys signed by the likes of Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Nemanja Vidic, Patrice Evra, of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which we're going to auction off, and a part of the proceeds go to Oscar Foundation for the incredible work they're doing. We're also, I don't think anyone knows this, so you're going to be the first ones to hear it out. We've not yet been able to put it out, but uh, Ashok and his boys and his girls at Oscar Foundation, we're inviting a few of them to come and meet Ole at the Mumbai venue before the event starts. It's going to be a nice setup. It's going to be before the platinum, before anything starts, so there's going to be no time pressure. And Oli is going to get to learn about the kind of work Oscar Foundation is doing. He's going to get to interact with the kids. Uh, you know,
Wow.
Probably speak. Some of them are, going to college as well. So there is a lot of scope for conversations around how they can, look up to how what they can learn from Ole and take away from what he's had in his career so far. So yeah, that's Oscar Foundation.
That is incredible.
Yeah, interesting because now that you mentioned, you have briefly touched upon different things that we wanted to know more about. You mentioned how you have been playing for a while, how you used to play 10 years ago, and that's how you know these people. Another direction where we wanted to have more of your thoughts is how have you seen the entire football scenario develop over the years? I mean, not just the player aspect, but more now from the fans and the consumer aspect, because now of course you are doing more work around how giving the fans a premium experience for something that they are so emotionally attached to. So do you
Yeah.
think do you think now going forward, as you mentioned, there is a market that would increasingly want to invest in these things just because it's premium? Or you are saying, like, for example, let me give you an example. Like, you mentioned going to the UK. So my college had a study trip to the UK where we were hosted by the Premier League. So we went to different clubs, not all big clubs.
Hey, which
They,
which college did you go? Which college are you referring to?
I am referring to Global Institute of Sports Business. So,
I don't know if you know, but I was a visiting faculty there for the first 3 years of the program.
oh no,
Oh,
might as well be the case. You then must know Neil Shah or Gaurav Mondwell, some of those
Three
people,
years.
right?
I For the first 3 years, and after which I couldn't commit more time, and that's why I would be the first one to interact with each batch each year.
Oh yes, true.
So
oh,
nobody else, and it was about setting the right tone. It was about what I used to focus on was communication, soft skills, and presentation skills, and so on. Which then the students would, the my friends rather, would go on to use in their program when everyone else would come in. But yeah, that's amazing. Have we connected before?
No, Tilak, I don't remember.
What batch were you in?
I was the fifth batch, so I am just going to have. We are yet to have our convocation, which is on February, the last week of
Oh, nice.
February.
You can say
So
hi to the guys there. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Why not? So I just coming back to what I wanted to ask is that I do understand this entire narrative of building a premium offering. Like, so when we were there, one of our visits was to Fulham. So the Fulham team owner, he's a Pakistani industrialist. His name just slips my mind. But the entire business model that he wanted to take over when he took over the team was 90% of the revenues before him for the club came during the match days. and he realized the location where Fulham was in London was one of the more affluent areas. So what he did was he made an entire new infrastructural place called the Fulham Pier, which has everything to do in terms of premium things, because people in that locality wanted those offerings, and then if they kind of liked it, then they would also engage with football. So now that I would fairly say that I have not met many people apart from you who are trying to build a premium product here in India with all its cost effectiveness. People always talking about it. So are you catering to that audience, or hoping that they also kind of come more into it, or you are strictly catering to the sports fans who can afford to go that high in terms of the economic ladder?
So yeah, I mean, again, that's a very nice thing to talk about. It's definitely going to be an experience. So I do know
Yeah.
for a fact that we have a lot of Chelsea fans attending this event. I do know for a fact we have a lot of Arsenal fans attend, and by a lot I mean very well known Arsenal fans, very well known Chelsea fans
Yeah.
who are coming down because this is so much more than Man United. This
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
this is so much more than even for that fact Ole. This is so much about football coming to India. I'm like we've been chatting for a while, and I don't know how many viewers there would be at this point in time or how it works, but I'm tired of the way things work. You know, people come in, people go out. You've got to, and these kind of events happen abroad all the time, and there are Indians attending those events over there, like how I did as well. So
Right.
it's not like there is no market here in India. It does take time to reach there. It does take time to get people to believe it, to trust in it. India is a country where seeing is believing.
Yeah,
This is the
absolutely.
first time. So, gold sells online on Paytm, but it doesn't actually, not a lot of people are confident buying it because in their head, they're like, unless I see it, unless I hold it, it's not real. So
It's a
even if they
jo
have
dikhta hai wo biकता hai sort of a scenario here.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I'm here for the long run, where whatever is the outcome of this, it's like a much bigger picture. It's a long term story. It's an investment. Um, we're not looking to fill up a stadium with such premium prices. We're looking to fill up like some of the more luxurious properties, but with classy inclusions. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, I get that.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Look,
Anukar sir,
every week, I can guarantee you there are more than 100 people who are going to Old Trafford from India, and it's their first time. I'm
uh,
going to repeat that. Every week, every time Man United is playing at Old Trafford, I can guarantee you there's no way to prove it. But I've been visiting for 4 times a season for as many years as I can remember. Every week, there are at least 100 Man United fans who are visiting from India to the UK, specially to watch the match. So there is an appetite, there is a passion, there is a market. I'm trying to build something different over here, which comes with its fair share of backlash and comments and whatever you want to call it. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's an A-lister. There's nothing wrong with everyone else who's coming down, but this guy he retired in 2008. If that was the end of it, okay, I don't know if this is that kind of a name to pull that kind of. But then he was the manager of Manchester United, the world's biggest football club, despite of all the challenges we've had in the last decade. He was the manager till 2.5, 3 years ago. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
I mean, it's very. I really agree with you here because for the past 2 years, now more than that, me and Doipan and the rest of everyone who works really hard at the Indie Football Podcast team, our aim has been one thing. I mean, that was also one of the reasons we started this podcast. It was to create a footballing culture in India. Because what we have been seeing is that India, as a nation with all its population, all its diversity, we are hardly in the top 100 in FIFA rankings. We saw how the AFC Asian Cup campaign played out, and there are a lot of other things. I mean, honestly, with the podcast also, we initially faced a lot of challenges. Last month, it was last month only that we started our union, our partnership, our collaboration with Ultimate Champions as our main sponsors, as our title sponsors. So, like, it is definitely a market. Definitely, people are price sensitive, and I see how you have targeted Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai as the cities. But I had one question in mind, and that's just from an Indian fan's perspective, who has been, kind of seeing the football market. We have seen how in Odisha, for that matter, the footballing culture has really come to, on another level, with how the government has been active in making state-of-the-art stadiums. Odisha FC as a club is doing well. We see how Kolkata is absolutely, even Doipan would know better, a football frenzy city. So why only Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai? Like, was Kolkata also into consideration before thinking about
100%.
the cities?
Kolkata, Hyderabad, Pune, they were markets, cities, markets that I was. It was a long understanding and discussion. At the end of the day, it had to be on the lines of where I am comfortable. In terms of that, what do I mean by I am comfortable? Is because what we have is a 250 member team across these three cities, on ground and online, working behind my account, behind my face. Like I'm just the face. Of course, I'm working as well, but there is like an army behind me, and so we need to make sure that we're working in environments that we know a little better than others. So, say for example, Ace of Pubs does 250 quiz nights approximately every month across India, and a majority of those 250 happen in Mumbai, Bangalore, and Delhi. We have a lot happening in Pune, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Chennai as well, and a lot in the likes of Indore and Jaipur and so Ahmedabad and so many other places. However, we need to see where we can be able to deliver what we have in mind. India, I may be wrong, but today's time, more than ever before, flights are cheaper than ever before. So if some fan is willing to pay 40,000 rupees to spend an entire evening with Ole, he or she is definitely in the capacity. And again, not that I use this judgment to choose these three cities, but I'm saying that it's not the United States where if you take one part of the country, you have to fly 8 hours to get to the other part of it. India is like everything is 1 or 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Then to conclude that, I mean, logically, there are 3 days. I could have chosen. I had the choice to do one city. I think that I've never spoken about it. I had when I spoke to Ole, it was always about Mumbai because that's where I'm based out of. But the conversation went on the lines of if we're putting in all these efforts, we're flying him down all the way from Oslo, and then it's just for a day, and then he goes back. Let's do two cities. Okay, if you're doing two cities, it's Saturday, Sunday. How about we don't want to restrict it. How about we do three? Imagine it's my first event of this nature. It's a big bite to go for. It's a big bullet to aim for. With three cities, we have ITC hotels, American Express, Zomato. It's not easy, yeah. So eventually, I had to pick three cities, and these were the three ones where we felt most comfortable, where we know that there is a market for an event like this, and also knowing that if anybody wants, we have people flying in from Leicester to Mumbai for this event. We have people flying in from Amsterdam. We have people flying in from, obviously from Manchester and Oslo. We have people flying in from Bangkok, uh, Hyderabad coming to Bangalore, Pune. We've booked, and that's something that I've done from my end because Pune is very close to my heart. We've booked a bus for fans, completely free. You can jump on the bus, come to the airport, say hello, and stay back if you're staying for the event. If not, the bus will take you back as well.
Um,
So yeah, people are going to leave at 5 a.m. From Pune on a Saturday morning on the 10th of Feb and come to the Mumbai airport to visit to welcome Ole. So yeah, that's the thought behind it.
Yeah, interesting because now that you mention all these things, what we ought also want to, and of course, we won't take too much of your time, probably the last couple of questions from both of our sides. Now, speaking just about ourselves, okay, so we are trying to now get into physical presence, trying to foray beyond what we are doing just online through our podcast, through our social media. We are trying to understand how we can probably start covering screenings in like different places because now we have people. I mean, I'm sure not as big of an army that you have, but of course we have people in Delhi, in in Mumbai, couple of them in Pune, Chandigarh. So how do you think now? I know it just entirely seems like an Ole episode, which of course was one of the things that we wanted to do. But now that you have got this event done, and now 6 months down the line you kind of want to do something similar related to football, how do you see all the network that you have in terms of United fan groups, different, you mentioned AC Milan fan groups like some while ago, how do you see these independent football fan driven organizations help in what Ace of Pubs does for its future sports events?
So when Ace of Pubs does this event, or
Yeah.
it was XYZ, A brand, B brand, XYZ brand, at the end of the day, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he is the most loved Manchester United player to have worn the jersey, and he comes down. So the support from the supporters club and the synergy over there, the synchronizing between what we're doing and what they're helping with, is indifferent to me. And what I mean by that is these two things, the supporters clubs and Man United and Ole, they're bigger than me. I'm just trying to hold the strings together and get them to, put together a show. So yeah, having that network, oof, it's incredible. When I proactively used to, attend screenings with Man United, Mumbai, and so on, if I were traveling for work or otherwise, and I was in Chennai one time, and we had an FA Cup match, Lingard had scored. I was in Chennai, and so I attended the screening with MUSCC.
Yeah.
Once I was in Bangalore for work, and I did that. And once I was in Delhi, once I was in Miami, once I was in Malta, once I was in Toronto, because that's the concept, right? So never did I think at that time that, oh, I'm going to need to, network with these people. And so I proactive. But what did happen in the process is I got to learn about what happens, what's the structure like, who can I reach out to, what is a working committee like, what is it, how the back end works. And obviously these supporters clubs aren't commercially driven. They're not there for the profit. They're there for engaging the community of fans. So if I'm bringing to them something which is a part of, it's like bringing a holy, it's like bringing sand, the grass, the turf from Old
Yeah.
Trafford. I mean, they want it as much as anybody else, but a little more because they have like an entire community around. It's a great network to have. Obviously, let's see how the event goes. I want people to share their feedback. I want people to, see if, we're going to have a feedback form at the end of the event, which has like, what do you think of the venue? What do you think of the management? What do you think of the value for money? And we want to see, because once you experience it, even if you found the 40,000 expensive, but once you were there, was it worth it after that is more important to me than what you said about it on Twitter before that. So yeah, it's here for the long term. It's not going to be something which is going to stop after this. I know for a fact, I can tell you in strong confidence that a lot of people are looking at the store very closely. And now that Andy is on board as well, we're talking of the likes of not restricted to, and I'm just generally not restricted to Man United, but we have Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, John Terry, Henry, Eric Cantona, Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Evra, Vidic, Peter Schmeichel. A lot of people are looking at this store very closely. So yeah, it's going to be the first of many to come, and supporters clubs are integral. So we need to like keep focusing on that. Yeah.
Anukar sir, the like he Tilak mentioned many names, but the mention of one person got you particularly excited, right?
Yeah, it was like I stopped listening after Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is something very, very cool. And I think it's the start of good things to come for me also as a football fan generally, because I think it is very important that people come in. I think when the kids from the age of 5 to 10, 10 to 15, they are able to see their stars, they are able to meet them. I think it's going to set them a message. Sometimes these moments can inspire people to become better footballers, to be better at what they do in life eventually. And I think it's a very good step for you to do this. Before we conclude this episode, Tilak, what is that one thing that really inspired you to do this? Like, what was the main inspiration behind this? And like, what message do you have at the end for United supporters who are coming to see this event, and for football fans all across the country who have their eyes on this event, on this mega event?
So I'll answer your second question first. For those who are attending this event, you're in for like an absolute treat, and not because I'm organizing it, but because what has been organized. You're in for
Absolutely.
a memory for a lifetime. Not that I have any reason to say this, but there is no reason why Ole Gunner Solskjaer is ever going to come back to India. Again, I say this because it can happen in the future, but as of now, from what I understand, there's no reason why this kind of an event is ever going to happen again with him. So when I say once in a lifetime, I truly mean it, and I'm so glad that I will be there with those who are there that evening, witnessing something that we're trying to do, which is so many ways groundbreaking, so many ways historic, in so many ways um, unorthodox. And answering your first question now, which is about what was the first question again? This is
The inspiration behind all
the
this.
inspiration. So I used to work a corporate job. I used to work at Ernst and Young. It's a consulting firm headquartered in the UK in London, and I was just working in Mumbai. But I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I knew that I always wanted to do something of my own, and I wanted to like move into a space where no matter what I do, it's always passion driven, no matter what kind of event. So Ace of Pubs is about, while it's about quizzing, it's more about engagement and entertainment through quizzing, which is about hosting events. And I love hosting events. I love the microphone. So we did something for Coldplay last year in Manchester, where we had the manager of the band attend an event that I was hosting. So yeah, whatever it is, what you're saying about the inspiration, what made me do it is I love being passionate about the things that I do. I love being always working hard on, whatever it is that I choose to focus on. If I support United, I'm the loudest guy in that stand that day, and I lose my voice in the first 10 minutes. I'm in the Stratford end, but that I give it my 100%. So if I support United, if I meet Ole, and I love India. I'm born and brought up over here, and for me to be able to do something like this is pure passion. So if I'm getting MUFC closer to India, um, it's everything that I've dreamed of, prayed for, hoped for, cried for, loved for, fought for, and it's just 7 days away now. So yeah, the passion, um, always wearing my heart on my sleeve, and to make sure that we do not stop.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that's quite a fitting way to end things over here, Anukar sir. Isn't that true?
I mean, 100%. I mean, United have got some good things coming in. They have got Omar as their sporting director soon. They have got good things coming in at the club. They have got Klopp going in from the Premier League. So I think, as a United fan, it's something good to look forward to. And I hope that after listening to this podcast, after watching this out on YouTube, we will also be putting out snippet reels for this. I hope
Yes.
more people can come to the event, see Ole, and thank you, Tilak, once again from the entire Indian
Well,
football fan community for bringing Ole to India and for making this event a reality.
Happy to have done that. I'm happy to have spent this time with you guys. Thank you, and see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Yeah,
thank you,
thank you.
Tilak. Thank you for
Thank you.
everyone who was tuned in. Good night. Take care.
So this
Cheers.
was episode number 73, powered by Ultimate Champions at the Indie Football Podcast. We hope to host Tilak anytime. Thank you.